of the border, we are joined by Ken Hartwick, who's the CEO of Just Energy. Good morning, Ken. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
And, quite curious in terms of why you are listing in New York. Is it because of where natural gas price is currently and you see more opportunity in terms of investors in the States coming into play that market?
It's for really two reasons. Firstly, as a business, we've grown substantially in the U.S. We're now actually bigger in the U.S. than we are in Canada from a customer and earnings standpoint. And we just felt with that growth, it was time to more aggressively pursue the U.S. capital markets and be part of our quest to get U.S. investors to know Just Energy and into the Just Energy story.
Now, we've seen natural gas prices come down tremendously over the last couple of years. You're fortunately not a driller of natural gas. You're a distributor of natural gas. Is that an opportunity for you? I mean, do you see more demand, more people wanting to switch to natural gas?
We believe so. I think the dynamic you've seen in a couple of big Canadian newspapers over the course of the last couple of weeks have been to say now is the time to lock into natural gas prices. And for our potential residential customers or our commercial customers, they are really taking the perspective that prices are low. Why not lock in, fix in the cost of their commodity for their house or for their business? And it's the right time to do that. So we really see that as a significant opportunity as gas prices maybe they're all-time low, and if anything might have some upside pressure as the economy begins to improve going forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess on that front, Ken, I mean, you have a great perspective running a company, being CEO of a company. What is your outlook on the U.S. and Canadian economy?
Yeah, I won't pretend to be an economist, but we do see some signs in the U.S. of the economy beginning to show some signs of strength. It starts with the housing market and really the ability of people to maintain the place that they live. But so we see the early stages of that strengthening beginning. And again, as a business, we've looked at it and said we've been able to grow our business in a relatively weak economy the last couple of years, and therefore get very optimistic if we see the economic environment in the U.S. and Canada beginning to maybe be at the very early stages of improvement.
I want to ask a big picture question. The Prime Minister was in Davos last week talking about the pension system, the retirement system, the sustainability of all of that. It's a big concern for a lot of corporate leaders. Can you talk a bit about where you stand? Do you have a defined benefit plan or a defined contribution plan or any pension plan at all, and what your worries are in that area?
Yeah, we have the equivalent to a defined contribution plan in the company, not defined benefit. And really, I think it's the real concern, I think, is the individual employee, whether it's at Just Energy or at any other company in North America, is really looking to say, how do I put myself in a sustainable position when I retire? So, from what I read from the Prime Minister's statements, I think the issue has to be addressed. Just leaving it go for another 4 years, not even trying to deal with the sustainability of the Canadian pension regime, is just not a prudent thing to do. So I sort of applaud him for taking the initial steps and saying he's going to at least look at it and try to deal with it, because it probably sits on every person's mind as to, when they hit 65 or 67, whatever the age might be, can they really sustain the standard of living that they'd hope to sustain?
Mm-hmm. And when you look at your company and the outlook, we've talked a little bit about this morning already, just so much cash that's on the balance sheets of companies. With respect to M&A activity in 2012, you've been an acquirer of companies, specifically in the States. What's your outlook there? I mean, are you going to be more aggressive, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think we'll be more aggressive, but I definitely think we're an acquirer. I think our track record has shown that we've acquired a company at least one a year over the last number of years. We see lots of acquisition opportunities, particularly in the U.S., so that's a path that we're going to continue to look at. We have the luxury of being able to grow our business without acquiring, which then allows us to be very prudent and thoughtful in what we do. But the opportunities are there, and our track record would say we would buy a company a year would be the norm.
What's your big worry? What are the threats to your business that keep you up at night and that you have to keep your eye on, or else something bad will happen to your business?
Right. Yeah, it's a great question, and there's historically been two. One is we are highly regulated, despite them calling our sector unregulated. There's a lot of every state, every province has regulatory regimes, It's something we invest a lot of time in, a lot of money in to ensure that we are very active in that. So that's has historically been the biggest risk to the business. It's dissipated a little bit now that we're in 20 jurisdictions, so 14 states, 6 provinces, so we don't have that.
You're kind of hedged.
We are a little bit, so as opposed to maybe 5 years ago when we were just Ontario, and you have regulatory risk in one jurisdiction. And really the second one really, and it's a little bit cliche-ish, but is really coming down to being able to innovate the products to suit a customer need. When gas prices dropped a lot 4 years ago, the beginning of the decline, it required everyone to rethink the product to offer the customer. And I think our industry perhaps has been slow in sort of responding to that. And it's something where as a company, you have to constantly look and say, are you actually giving a product that the consumer will benefit from, which is very important. So it's more of a challenge, I think, than a risk.
Okay, Ken, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.